Hey, good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. So I had a completely different video planned for today, but due to something that happened during the day today, it changed my plan, and I want to cover this. Very important. I want to talk about the prevalence of salespeople, grifters, and fraudsters in the finance community. And I know this is kind of a negative subject, but as part of my mission with this channel, life enhancing financial coaching, I want to talk about all aspects of finance. And unfortunately, that is a negative aspect, but does need to be discussed. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of that discussion, I want to just briefly go over the market today, give a brief update. So the market, it was a bloodbath again today. We have more drama with the Russia-Ukraine situation. And like yesterday, it seemed like, oh, Russia was going to back off. Uh-oh, now today they're going to invade. So what does that mean? Batten down the hatches, right? Here we go. Sell, panic. I'm just kidding. Just ignore the news, ignore the drama. But anyway, the market was a bloodbath today. And that may have in part driven what I'm going to talk about. So what's happened as I've tried to grow on YouTube and grow this channel, part of my strategy has been to farm out across different social media sites. And there's a lot of opportunities for picking up viewers, picking up followers when it comes to, like, if you join financial forums on Reddit, on Facebook, um, creating profiles on Twitter. I even have some profiles I haven't done much with on Discord and Patreon, and I even have a TikTok that I haven't done anything with yet, but I plan to eventually. What kind of gets in the way of all of these plans is that thing called a full-time job, when I'm still consuming most of my time. But so what happened to me today, what I've gotten as I've joined different finance forums. Now I join, and I think a lot of people join these with really good intentions. We want to go in, we want to meet like-minded people, and we want to use it as one prong of a multifaceted strategy to build an audience. So, and generally speaking, there are a lot of good people and good information on these sites, but unfortunately, there's a lot of grifters and salespeople too. And it's a real bummer. And I want to use this video to instruct all of you all on what to look for, because somebody that may be more impressionable could fall for this. So what's happened, and this has to do with Roku stock, which I have up here. So on one of the investing forums that I'm in, I've had, like I said, several people reach out, and it's unbelievable how many people seem to be selling something in the finance community. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the finance community. I love how many people are into finance now and discuss it and discuss ways to advance, make money, make good returns. It's a very productive thing overall, but there are downsides to it, such as this. So what happened today, and I guess it's sad but amusing at the same time. So let me show you on a Facebook group. There's a person that keeps talking to me, that keeps trying to sell me the course. And for whatever reason, they've gathered that I may be into options a little bit. And I mean, I am. I've done videos on options, and I think options can make you money, but they can be very risky. But so what's happened, and I bleeped out the person's name and stuff to try to keep it anonymous, but they've been, to promote their really great course, they've been pumping different tips to me, different stock tips, different investing tips. And they said, here, try this out. And if you do really well with this, consider buying my course. And the funny thing is, with the cost of it, they say that the more you pay, the better stock tips you can get, which, I mean, that sounds like a scam in and of itself, to be honest. But so today, the message that I got early today was, big news. This is our team's high precision signal for the day. How scammy does that sound? If you invest in the stock and buy Roku long, the English isn't even correct, actually. If you invest in the option to buy Roku call option with a $180 strike price and a March 4th expiration, note, buy before the close today and hold until tomorrow. And I had a little bit of fun with this. I responded because I went and looked at Roku stock and saw that it was down significantly today. And so I said, jokingly, I said, wow, big news indeed. Looks like Roku did great today. And I've actually, in other messages, I've said, um, so if I spend like it, and I would never consider spending money on a course like this anyway. I think stuff like that's a joke. Like I've said in other videos, stuff like this will just separate the average investor from their money. You go into investing to make money, not to spend lots of money on elaborate courses that promise so much. So I would never do this, but jokingly, I may say to something like this, wow, so if I spend more money, you mean you can actually provide me better stock tips? That sounds so cool. How do I sign up? Just jokingly. But anyway, so we're going to examine this call option to see how it did today. Now, my thought process as to the merits of this recommendation, I'm assuming that the person thought, because Roku had an earnings report today, they thought Roku would beat earnings, which they actually did, but they missed on some other key metrics that caused the stock to drop. They beat earnings by a pretty healthy margin, but they missed on revenue expectations. So that was what really caused the stock to drop. And let's go ahead and look at that now. So as you can see from here, the stock was down $16 today, which is a 10% drop. And it's actually down even more in the futures. It's down $32, which is a 22% drop. And this is a stock that's been dropping significantly since last year, as have many tech stocks, because we've been seeing from the peaks, we've been seeing a drop that really started like midway through last year. You can see Roku here hit its peak July 19th, $473. It was actually the 52-week intraday trading. It was actually as high as almost 491. So let's scroll down here and look at the earnings. So you can see the last 4 quarters, it's beat earnings, including this quarter and the one that was reported today. This hasn't updated yet, but the prior 4 quarters, it has beat earnings by a pretty healthy margin. But what usually happens on these is that the analysts will raise the projections as a company continues to beat earnings over and over again. A company will raise the projection. So eventually the company is going to miss earnings. They're going to miss expectations. And then what happens, everybody freaks out and then the stock drops. And then the next quarter, and I've seen this happen so much, in the next quarter, the analysts and their infinite wisdom will revise the estimates downward. And then all of a sudden, miraculously, the company will have an earnings beat. And then all the buzz is in the stock. And then, oh, wow. And I've seen that happen so many times. And every now and then, like I'll tell somebody, like, honestly, I think this company is going to have an earnings beat tomorrow because the analysts missed last time, so they had to revise it downward. So it lowers that threshold for the company to beat earnings. And then sure enough, they do. And then when you say something like that, people think you're a genius, and you're really not. You're just following the trends of what tend to happen, right? But things like that can have an impact on impressionable people. And as far as this channel, and here I am kind of bashing salespeople and grifters and fraudsters and stuff like that. I'm not actually selling anything. I go into this and I join forums and stuff to genuinely, I mean, I'm genuinely interested in this stuff. That's why I started this channel. It's probably my strongest passion, personal finance. So I started this channel with the intent of helping others financially, helping mentor and coach. That's why the channel's called Financial Coaching. I'm not selling financial coaching. The coaching is part of the channel, and I do it in a fun, often funny way that I hope is entertaining. If it's not, at least you get a good laugh out of it on some of my videos. But I think you can tell I genuinely do know what I'm talking about. But and my key belief, like in the channel description, the fish story. So instead of handing somebody a fish, you teach the person how to fish, feed them for life. That's what I believe in financially. If you can coach and mentor people to do things that have worked for you, and you can be an influencer and influence people, I think that's a great thing for society. But unfortunately, the flip side of that coin are sales, not all salespeople. I'm not trying to cast salespeople in paint a broad brush, but I would say some salespeople, grifters, and fraudsters. That is the downside. And that's what I think it's important to call out. Like what happened to me today. An impressionable person would have fallen for this, but luckily I know what to look for. I know how to research things on my own, and I can just laugh it out the door. And hopefully this video will help those of you who may be more impressionable to identify a scam like this. So with that being said, back to this. So like I said, they did beat the actual earnings per share projections, but they missed on revenue, and that's what triggered the stock to decline. Now let's examine that option that was recommended. So it was the March 4th call option. And options data can be kind of tricky at times, especially on platforms like Yahoo. It can be hard to track down, especially historical data. Like a lot of times you'll see like this clicking here, it will hang, like it will keep me on, even though I just selected March 4th. See how it hangs for a minute, it keeps me on February 18th, and then I'm rolling through a video and rambling on, and I'll click the February 18th one and discuss it as the March 4th one. I actually did that, and I had to reshoot this video because I felt like an idiot. I would have been laughed at if I posted that. It was pretty good, but you know, I want to be accurate with this stuff. That's really important. I don't want to mislead my audience. So you see the cursor worked properly this time, and I pulled up the March 4th list of call options. So with that, now let's look at the $180. And just to be sure, let's go back here and make sure that's what this person was saying. Yeah, $180 strike price, March 4th expiration. So less than a month out, which that's already risky in and of itself. But this person thought, I guess, that the earnings report would beat the expectations so well that there would be an earnings blast. So let's look at it. $180 strike price. Yeah, it was down 43% today. So if somebody impressionable took this person's tip, they would have lost 43% in one day. And it's going to be down even more tomorrow because you saw the futures of the stock. It's already down, what did I say, 23%. So what happens, like with options, whether the stock gains or loses, the option being a derivative investment is going to magnify that gain or that loss. It can do really well when the stock goes up, but when the stock drops, well, the good thing, the maximum you can lose is your whole investment amount. That's not a good thing, but it's not like there's like an infinite loss, at least with doing long call options. Your maximum risk is whatever you put into it. The gain potential is infinite. Like if the stock has a huge run up and you catch one, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. You keep on, the stock keeps on tracking upward and you keep on making money, but you want to get out of that. And I didn't mean this to be like an options training video. I do want to do some more in-depth option videos where I really explain the meat and potatoes of them. And funny enough, I'm not going to do those like as a course that I sell. I'm just going to do it as a free video that's posted on YouTube for public consumption. How novel of an idea is that? But anyway, so let's look at this thing here. So options data, let's see. This can be a bit tricky because this obviously existed before January 18th, but it's only showing back to then, and it's been a bit choppy, as you see. 1275 it was at about a month ago, and it's dropped, came back up, dropped. I guess if somebody's really a gambler, I guess they could play this one for like a day, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it. And remember, none of this is recommendations, just educational / entertainment. But yeah, so you see from the 15th, it's basically lost half of its value, and it's going to keep dropping. As you saw, the stock is going to be down tomorrow unless something changes in futures. But right now, the investors are spooked by the miss on revenue. So with that, that's really the main thing I wanted to discuss. Just keep an eye out for those things. You want to really, if something sounds scammy, it probably is. And you want to really keep an eye out for stuff like that, and try to pay attention to those key trigger symbols with something like that, to see whether or not it's a scam. And with that, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you found this content valuable. I always produce content similar to this. So if you find it valuable, please feel free to subscribe. It's totally free and easy to do. It's only a click of a mouse. And thank you again, and have a great evening.